Honorable John Amaratunga, Minister of Public Order and Christian Affairs, Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Chitrangani Vagishwara, Acting Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Public Order, Chulananda Pereira, the Controller General of Immigration and Immigration, Mr. M.N. Ranasinghe, distinguished members of the head table, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today to share a very special moment, a special day, in fact, with you in this ministry. Let me also take this opportunity to thank my cabinet colleague, Honorable John Amaratunga, for choosing this historic Republic building as the venue for this historic meeting. In fact, today, ladies and gentlemen, you formally renew your ties with your country of origin, Sri Lanka, which is Sri Lanka, and become citizens of this country again, in addition to the countries which you have chosen as your new homes. I'm extremely happy that you have chosen to make Sri Lanka's journey towards development, reconciliation, peace and prosperity your own again. This, in fact, is a step that a few in the over 1.5 million strong Sri Lankan diaspora have taken. In fact, since 1987 up till today, only 34,000 Sri Lankans abroad have made such a firm commitment as all of you are making today. Of course, we are aware that some of you, especially during the past period, wanted very much to resume your citizenship, but unfortunately, during that era, the facility for this purpose was restricted to a very, very few people. However, Honorable John Amaratunga has again opened the doors of Sri Lanka wide again to its own citizens who have lived abroad. And this is why I said that this, I believe, is a very historic moment. In fact, as you know, the government of President Maithripala Sirisena realizes the true value of the diaspora community and welcome all of you as our citizens. You're all citizens of this country who now carry the flag for Sri Lanka overseas. We welcome your renewed participation in all aspects of Sri Lankan civic, economic, and cultural life. There is much that you can contribute, and there is much that we can learn from your experiences. You bring the experience of many different political, economic, and social systems, knowledge of best practices in science, in industry, and the latest ideas in art, culture, etc., development and trends in academia and culture. Perhaps as importantly, you can see the mistakes others have made and help us appreciate what we have taken for granted here at home. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, to note that Sri Lanka's relationship with our adopted second homes and with the Sri Lankan diaspora are not a zero-sum game. We all want peace, prosperity, and we all want an equal and just society, and would like to see all of that prevalent here in Sri Lanka, our motherland. For far too many years since independence, we allowed ourselves to be divided along ethnic lines. We were divided along religious lines. We were divided along linguistic lines. We were even divided along class lines. And as a result, we all suffered. We lost our best to violence in all parts of our country. We have seen enough violence. It is time that we unite in mind and spirit. This land is a common space that should unite us, those of us who live here in this country, and those of you who left our shores and live overseas. And I believe the new Sri Lanka we all dream of will be a celebration of its diversity, diversity of ethnicity, diversity of religion, diversity of cultures, but we will be united in our diversity. We must also ensure that the mistakes of the past do not get repeated again. This nation cannot afford to lose more of our sons and daughters to violence. Together as a reconciled and united nation at peace, we must work and strive to achieve common goals that will benefit present and future generations in this country and enable Sri Lanka to achieve its full potential in all fields. With your help, with your participation, we will be able to achieve these objectives faster and more easily than we can alone. You can play an important role in this journey. You are a bridge between Sri Lanka and your host countries. Each of you, I would say, from today becomes an ambassador for Sri Lanka in your host countries. Each of you are also ambassadors to the 1.5 million persons of Sri Lankan origin who are living overseas. Per capita, Sri Lanka's diaspora is one of the world's largest, and it is also one of the most illustrious diasporas. In fact, according to the OECD, in 2006, 1 in 3 members of the Sri Lanka diaspora living in the OECD is an educated professional. They also estimate that OECD contains over 8,000 legislators, senior officials, and managers of Sri Lankan origin. That indeed makes us all very proud here in Sri Lanka. In a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka's diaspora consists of individuals who are hardworking, talented, and responsible. They have contributed positively to the nations which they have made their homes, and through perseverance, and today wield a lot of influence in their respective countries. Also, our diaspora has demonstrated their contribution to the advancement of science and technology, the pursuit of justice, and the production of wealth in many nations overseas. Now that Sri Lanka has opened its doors to welcome them, we hope they acknowledge and respond by returning home to become stakeholders in Sri Lanka's new journey towards peace, reconciliation, and development. We hope that they use the talents and skills they have gained over the years to help us accelerate our development and enrich our thinking. We should strive to reverse the brain drain during the long years of conflict and ensure that Sri Lanka will now receive all the benefits of a brain gain at this crucial time of history. Dual citizens are in a privileged position of being a bridge, bringing us closer together and enabling us to travel together again. Many say that you have the best of both worlds, but in you, as a country, I believe that we have the best of both worlds. You live and work amongst the Sri Lankan diaspora, amongst the leaders and citizens of some of the most developed countries in the world, yet also maintain the closest of relationship with our island. Your hybrid identity allows you to provide honest information, facilitate tourism, trade and investment, and act as a gateway to Sri Lanka. But above all, it is your passion that Sri Lanka needs, the passion to motivate and mobilize the Sri Lankan diaspora and the world to join our journey to create a new Sri Lanka. In one of my previous speeches, I argued that salesmanship will be as important as statesmanship for the modern Sri Lankan diplomat. This applies also to citizen ambassadors. I would rather call you citizen ambassadors rather than as dual citizens, like you who represent this nation overseas as citizens of Sri Lanka and elsewhere. We hope that you would take on the task of persuading the world that Sri Lanka is not only a paradise for tourists, but that is also becoming a paradise for investors. We also hope that you take our story, our nation's story, to the world outside. Tell them about the pain of conflict, what we have experienced, and the renewal of our democracy to embark on this new and promising journey, having realized that this is the only meaningful way forward. Tell them also about the beauty of this island, its ancient history, its potential for investors, its advanced human resources, the advantage of its location. Today, I invite you to take a single practical step in that direction. In order to encourage the diaspora, ladies and gentlemen, diaspora members, in order to encourage diaspora members to engage and contribute in our efforts to build a new Sri Lanka, this ministry has also decided to organize a festival for the diaspora in December this year, where we will be inviting all members of the Sri Lankan diaspora abroad to come back to Sri Lanka, like they did in Ireland and in India in recent times, and also to contribute to our development with their talents. In fact, as you know, we have some of the finest artists in the world from Sri Lanka. We have some of the finest authors in the world that today are from Sri Lanka. In fact, some of the finest chefs you find in many countries are also from Sri Lanka, in addition to the scientists, the businessmen, doctors, lawyers, who actually have done a great service and credit to our country in in the countries of their chosen domicile. We believe that such an event to connect Sri Lanka to its diaspora, which could even take the form of a regular annual event, will enable the communities in the country to benefit from their knowledge, capacity, expertise, and skills. As you know, there are several other countries who have benefited from such organized events, India and Ireland, to name a few, who organize with great success such events recently. While we try to think of new ways to embrace you and engage with you, I urge you to be innovative and creative in joining this journey. Perhaps with the help of our embassies in your host countries, you could try to unite as Sri Lankans dual citizens overseas. Don't keep on thinking or working as the Sinhala diaspora group, the Tamil diaspora group, the Muslim diaspora group, etc. Just remember, when you're abroad, all of your Sri Lankans, and let us, as I said, celebrate our diversity by showing a united front to the rest of the world. From an association to join the hands of Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan diaspora and the world together to travel on a common journey of peace to achieve progress and prosperity for our nation. Finally, a big thank you once again to my cabinet colleague, Honorable John Amaratunga, and also the Controller General of Immigration and Immigration, Mr. Ranasinghe, and Mrs. Vageshwara, my secretary, for expediting this task and for making this function possible today. Thank you so much. Thank you.